Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast. I am your host here with my matelage man, Jared Borislow, a.k.a. J-Bone. And Jared, that's a recurring pirate joke for all the pirate fans out there.
Yeah, I still believe it's pronounced matelotage instead of matelage.
Matelage? Matelatage?
Matelatage, I think. We actually never checked into this.
No, and I actually may be spelling it altogether wrong at this point. It's just kind of one of those, it's like telephone, you know.
Yeah.
It's just evolved down through the episodes into whatever the fuck it is now.
In like a year from now, it's going to be something.
Just Google it. Yeah, but to put it another way, John Gruden definitely thinks Jared and I are total anti-football pussies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. That's like one of the least surprising, first off, like character arcs for John Gruden.
What, John Gruden?
Yeah.
Head coach of the Raiders, who was recently fired because 10-year-old emails exposed essentially that he's a homophobic, semi-racist asshole. At least he was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But, to Jared's point, I don't even think anybody was operating under the assumption that Gruden wasn't a racist homophobe.
I think I always, granted, I was a Buccaneers fan when he got us a Super Bowl. I'm no longer a Buccaneers fan. We can get into that at a later time.
Sure.
So, like, I had this kind of, like, love for John Gruden for getting me my first ever major sports victory.
Okay.
And I always kind of hoped he was a good guy, but, like, you see
but
the
deep
face.
down inside, you knew. That's
the
the thing. I always hoped too, but then at some point, it was when he was doing commentating. I started to get bad vibes from Gruden, and then I couldn't stand him anymore. He annoyed the shit out of me.
My favorite thing is Gruden's Grinders. Do you remember that?
Jared. That's what broke me. I couldn't take it. Like his branding, the stupid fucking slogans and shit he would come up with. I was just like, this guy's an utter moron.
What we need to like fully own John Gruden is for like Gruden's Grinders to become some sort of homoerotic thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it between the announcement of him using homophobic slurs and calling Roger Goodell an anti-football pussy, and us recording this show, I can almost guarantee some kind of homoerotic Gruden-themed pornography has been filmed.
I mean, it has Grinder.
And will be called Gruden's Grinders.
It has Grinder in the name.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's like too easy.
Frankly, the app Grinder should be all over this. We should be selling them this. Bolen Media will be contacting you, Grinder, to pitch you on a marketing campaign that Jared and I would like to execute for you.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Jared, are you ready to entertain the masses with your infamous lack of wit?
That's not nice.
No, it's not. I explained this on social media, and I've mentioned it here and there on the show over the last couple months. But I've been weaning off of an antidepressant and dealing with some pretty extreme side effects that accompany the withdrawals, as Jared and really just everyone within like a mile vicinity of Bolen Media at this point is all too aware. As such, our release schedule for the show is a little wonky right now. And I do apologize for that. I know it's annoying. Trust me, I'm more annoyed than you. And I understand that as a podcast and just as a content fan, you want your stuff delivered when it's supposed to be delivered. And I promise you that is what we are working towards. It's just kind of a necessary step I had to take. And right now everything is sort of day-to-day for me. So we're getting in shows when we can and apparently upsetting Bruce somewhere along the way, because he's whining right now in the room with us. But anyway, I do apologize. We will get back to our regular Monday, Wednesday release schedule as soon as possible. Today's show is being done in a way that has never been done before, though, which is exciting. We are recording as Jared and I watch, sort of, the Astros play the White Sox in an elimination ALDS playoff game. And actually, guest of the show and personal friend of mine, and by that I mean I routinely annoy him via text message, Lance McCullers Jr. is pitching and dealing, I might add, having only given up one run so far through 5 innings, and we are up 5-1 as we record. So I'm in a good mood as of right now. But Jared, who knows what will occur over the next 4 innings as we sit here and make content magic.
So can you explain something to me? My Tampa Bay Rays were just dismantled by the Boston Red Sox.
Yep.
You see, you have the Red Sox, and then you have your team playing the White Sox. What made these teams go, you know what? Our team name is going to be the color of our socks, and we're going to spell it with an X for honestly, some reason.
Jared, professional sports franchise team names in the United States are some of the more befuddling choices that have ever been made. If you really think back to like I mean, including the really just outlandishly racist ones, mostly against indigenous peoples, and then the ones that are just straight up idiotic or the opposite of intimidating, which you want, like, I don't know how that happens.
The Hawaii rainbows is one of the best ever ones. Like the rainbow is not necessarily known as like a gritty, very like hardcore, intimidating thing.
I do kind of love that though for Hawaii. It feels like
a
it's fitting.
peaceful,
yeah, but
beautiful.
It's Hawaii, bro. It's like
I wish they were still called that. The Warriors is like, okay, cool.
That's what I'm saying. Even like the Golden State Warriors, it's like Warriors.
Has California ever been involved in like a conflict? I mean, besides
in conflict with itself constantly.
True.
And the rest of the country, I guess. California versus everyone.
It's true. I think they're losing.
They're mostly down here now with us, so abandoning ship and come. Anyway, there's a team called the Washington Football Team. You're spending billions of dollars you're spending to buy one of these teams. Like, dude, that would be the first thing I did. If I'm a billionaire owner, the first thing I'm doing is changing whatever weak-ass team name you handed me. There's very few exceptions.
When is the last time a person bought a professional sports team in America and changed the name?
Yankees? What are you yanking?
I think we all know. But for real though, when's the last time they changed
with
the
a
name?
red sock on it?
Because I know like the Baltimore
Orioles?
No, well the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Colts.
Shit. It's like why the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, because they were a Minnesota team.
They don't have any fucking lakes in Los Angeles.
And if they do, they're completely infested with needles.
They're needle lakes.
It's just an entire. It's mostly like, you know how nuclear reactors they put it all underwater.
Yeah.
That's just what that is.
You know how there's that floating plastic island out in the Pacific or whatever? Yeah, they've got one of those in Cali. It's just needles though. It's a lake. It's a needle lake.
But yeah, I mean, we really do have bad sports team names. I mean, compare, for example, American sports team names to like British ones, right? Then you just have like, most of it's just the city, FC.
Well, it's like if you can't come up with something cool, then do what the soccer teams do, FC. It's why Washington Football Team, all said and done, like might be the best team name in the NFL. Now they're the official football team. There is no other football team but football team in Washington. It makes for very dope gear. They probably don't have any because that's another thing about professional sports franchises that even with Fanatics and our boy, what's his name that owns it? Your dad knows him.
Michael Rubin. Yeah.
Even with Michael Rubin owning Fanatics, it's mostly trash. You can find good stuff on occasion, but like professional sports franchises, let me rephrase. NBA, NFL, and MLB franchises are majorly lacking in cool gear most of the time.
Yes.
I recently found MLS teams not so much the case.
I think what you have to do now if you want to get gear for your team is go buy some vintage 90s thing from like a yard sale or from a reseller on like Depop.
Yeah, they're not in yard sales anymore because all the hype beasts have scooped them up and they're marked up 400 times on fucking StockX or wherever.
Shouts to listener Quick Drip
Grail
on Depop who sent us some dope vintage Wisconsin stuff.
True enough. Got the sweater in the closet.
I'm pretty sure that's his full-time job. Is he like posts on Instagram where he goes around to like middle of nowhere farms to like
makes good finds, basically.
Yeah, and thrift stores. And like Madison's one of those cities where every single thrift shop has so many vintage Wisconsin.
You just have to be willing to dig through it, really. There's a lot of guys, guys and girls hustling like that on Instagram, I've noticed, that are like finding cool, unique fashion pieces and then reselling them. Sometimes like refurbishing them too, or like, you know how, actually we're going to get into this toward the end of the show. I want to talk a little bit about the custom sneaker game today, so we can kind of jump back into this category then, because I have more to say, Jared. I have more to say, but yeah, Lance just got either out of the inning or nope, he's pissed because he's been pulled from the game with a 5-1 lead in the bottom of the fifth. Now, he's been pulled because they want to use a middle reliever and then maybe another middle reliever and then a closer and get the fuck out of this series. But understandably so. Like, if somebody came in right now and was like, all right, Ross, you're done. The fuck out. Sorry, this other guy's going to come in and finish the show. I'd be like, I'm kind of rolling here. Can we just get through the rest? In fact, it'd be like if somebody did that in 30 minutes when we were almost done.
You got through it. You're like, I'm really
more
crushing
than
it
halfway
right now.
home. Let me get it. Yeah, no, that's a weird element of sports for sure.
That's why most pitchers don't like pitching for the Rays coach Kevin Cash because the amount of times you'll go past the 6th inning is like none in your entire career with the Rays.
You get 3.5 innings and you're yanked like a Yankee.
Blake Snell,
Doodle dandy.
put up like a 2-hitter in Game 6 of the World Series, and they're like, "Hey, get out of here, buddy!"
That's where it comes from, Jared. It's the song Yankee Doodle Dandy. They were like, Yankees.
I think that actually is. Isn't he? What? Isn't a Yankee an American?
Yankees just was a northerner during the
A
Civil
northern
War
dandy?
era. A northern masturbator in the Civil War era was called a Yankee.
I kind of want to be called a dandy. I like that term.
Well, I'm gonna let you Google it, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but there is a specific use for it.
Yankee Doodle dandy.
Dandy might be considered a homophobic slur at this point. Not that Jared has in any way violated
Let's find out.
anybody. I'm just saying, I think at this point it might be.
A man unduly devoted to style, neatness, and fashion and dress and appearance.
So it can be used derogatorily. I'll say that.
Okay.
But I do. So that based on that internet definition, I think that's a blanket, tell all that it's not homophobic. You dandy fuck.
Thank you.
Right? You're welcome. Anyway, episode 239, if you'd like to hear my interview with LMJ, with Lance McCullers Jr., the Astros pitcher who just went through 5 in the closeout game. He's awesome. His slider's insane. God, I'm such a baseball guy right now. Am I right?
You have a baseball pod or something?
Fellow baseball guys. I'm a partial baseball pod. Some of it's about baseball. It's called Banging the Can. If you're from Houston and you like Houston sports, you can go there because I try to keep it minimal here. All right, I understand. Not all of y'all are from Houston. I get DMs on occasion that are like, shut the fuck up during Rockets playoffs, especially, which didn't happen last year, and I'm sure most of you were psyched. But yeah, so.
If you're from LA, you would also enjoy the pod because you'd hate everything about it, and it's like a hate listen.
Hate listen, yeah. And I am an idiot, so I do say stupid things, and you can then yell at me and call me an idiot. Literally thousands of Dodgers and Yankees fans do this on TikTok every day. At Banging the Can TikTok. Go look at the replies on Banging the Can's TikTok. It's incredible.
Yeah, you've cultivated a great army of reply guys on that account.
Oh, man. Oh, it's wild. And they're fighting, infighting, all the arguing. It's baseball fans, as Jared and I were talking about off mic right before we started the show, are completely insane, illogical, emotional, crazy people.
You have 2 choices in life, and it's to either be a reply guy or a dandy, and I hope you pick a dandy.
I picked dandy. Although I do try to be a reply guy on occasion for the sake of clout. Anyway, speaking of sports, if you bet on sports and want to support the podcast while you do your sports betting, you can do so with today's sponsor, MyBookie. Hit MyBookie.ag, use the promo code RBP to activate a deposit bonus. Stipulations apply. Last time I checked, it was a double deposit bonus, meaning if you put in $100 and use the code RBP, they will match that and hit you with an additional $100 for a total, Jared, of $200.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't do math. In your account to bet on sports with all the live lines and prop bets and futures and more that you could possibly want. Plus, the casino and live casino. If you're not into sports, you NARP. MyBookie.ag, code RBP to support the podcast and unlock that deposit bonus. So you can get to sportsing and casinoing to your heart's desire today with MyBookie.ag. Use the code RBP. You play, you win, you get paid. Gamble responsibly always. Jared, yesterday I'm in the backyard with my three little dogs, right? And then the one big boy named Harvey, a.k.a. Harv, who is a 90-pound Doberman mix. I've talked a lot about squirrels.
Mm-hmm. There was the squirrel in your backyard who had massive testicles.
We've had many squirrel incidences since the pandemic started here at Bolen Media HQ. It's become a bit of a thing. There's been an invasion. The squirrels, in my theory, have become more comfortable because the human beings didn't leave their homes for so long that they've become cocky, right?
I like this theory. I think it checks out.
And so the squirrels are just mocking at this point. They won't stop playing. They're testing the dogs, teasing them. So I take the dogs outside, and I'm an animal lover, so like the chaos keeps unfolding where there's like 3 squirrels. I can tell which one's the big fat leader. He's instructing the others. They're collecting nuts brazenly. And then they see the dogs come out and they get up in the trees and they chitter at them and they talk that shit.
When they flick their freaking tail. I hate when they flick their tail around.
Why are you doing that? Are you going to attack?
That's such a dick move. My
You're
dog
not a
park,
rattlesnake. No one is scared of you. You're a fucking squirrel.
My dog park has a bunch of squirrels who we have like a 8-foot fence, and the dogs can't even come close to them. They'll just run along that fence, look down at the dogs, and just flick their tails for like 30 seconds straight.
Same thing. Harv, he'll be up on the fence like, you fucking bastard. One day I'll get you. And the king squirrel will just be sitting there like doing that tail fucking thing. So I go out there and I'm like, there's got to be a sit down. Something has to happen or somebody's going to get hurt. And so I sit down with the lead squirrel, the squirrel king, and I'm like, look, dude, y'all need to change up your strategy here. This is going to end with you and all your little squirrel friends dead. And the squirrel king was like, oh yeah, human pig? And I was like, yeah, you furry little fat fuck. It's not going to go well. I advise you to listen to me and stop playing so unnecessarily brazenly with these dogs. And later in the afternoon...
Is this like the courthouse at Appomattox meeting in the Civil War?
Yeah.
Like the two sides sit down together and we're just like, here's the deal. Like just total straight up facts.
You just lay it out for the other side. Sometimes they do this in the mafia. They have a sit down with the unbiased third party who comes to the decision on what should happen. We didn't have that. We didn't have that kind of luxury. It was just me and the Squirrel King. But fortunately, we were able to see eye to eye. So later in the afternoon, I think my message has gotten through to some degree. And I'm taking the trash out. And I look down to my right. And right there, sure enough, along the fence line, I look down and I see the Squirrel King, dead as a doornail, on his back, eyes wide open, look on his face like, I should have listened. Big Harv got the Squirrel King, man. And he beat his ass to death. Straight up Quentin Tarantino, like...
Did he make an example out of the squirrel?
He put the message out on the streets, bro. It is over. Like, he's like... I'll never forget his eyes, though. Like he knew. Mm-hmm. Because of the sit down.
Was it like in Squid Game where he kills the guy, like makes an example out of him and just goes, welcome to Korea? Was he like, welcome to the neighborhood? Tell the other squirrels?
Yes, exactly like that. It was exactly like Squid Game. Anyway, I just don't anticipate Squirrel Game continuing any longer. I don't think their aggressive advance will continue into the winter. It was a little upsetting. Jared, when you watch Animal Planet, do you like watching a lion take down like an elk or like those snakes, that Snoop Dogg famously commentated, the snakes chasing that lizard as it made an escape?
I can't watch the ones of the animals dying. It makes me sad.
Okay, so you do get upset about
I don't like watching the wildebeests get taken down by the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
There's two types of people. There's people that can handle that I guess there's three types of people. There's people that can handle that. There's people that flat out enjoy it. They're sick. Watch out for them. And then there's people like you and me, who are a little more empathetic, and we don't jive with that. I'm down to watch the animals do whatever else.
I love to watch them have sex. Yeah, I love that.
I love watching them poop, and this isn't a joke. Like, when my dogs are shitting, I'm staring right at it, like into the hole. I don't know why, but I'm doing it every time.
And what about, does your dog look at you?
He stares right back. Like, he's staring at me like, what's wrong with you? Or Bella, or all of them. Yeah, it's weird. But I don't want to watch an animal eat another animal. I just don't. I don't like those scenes where they'd be like, and now the majestic gazelle attempts to escape. And it's in slow-mo, and they're like, but the lion and his cub circle the gazelle. And you're like, what? I don't want to fuck. And you have to watch the chase.
Yeah,
where you're like, well, I clearly see the lion gaining ground here. Well, I know this ends. Cut away. It's like in an NFL game. I don't need to see the leg break over and over and over and over. Cut away before the pounce.
I will say, I like to see the breaks once. Just to know what happened, Like I like when they show the break one time. Like they just did this, Max Williams on the Cardinals. They did this on Red Zone. He very clearly, like anytime you see a player down who's like, when it's a really bad injury before they show the replay. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I saw him down bad, literally. And I was like, I need to see this replay because I think they're going to show it because they usually show it when it's not like.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, right?
I am.
They usually show it once.
Dude.
And then they go, okay, shouldn't have done that. But they know people want to do it. Like they know.
They know we want it deep down inside that we're all sick. Like I can't watch the violence of the animal kingdom. I do better with human-on-human violence at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, but because of television and movies, I've been so desensitized that, like, that's just entertainment to me watching football. And I'm the same way where I'm like, I'll even tweet. I'm like, oh, don't show it again. It's disrespectful. But then I'm like rewinding. Like, what's wrong with me?
They're just kids, man. Just
What is wrong with me? Yeah. Anyway, R.I.P. to the Squirrel King. The time of the squirrel is over.
Are you sure though? Like next man up.
Fucking
Next man up. Dude.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think this is that type of team they had. They didn't build a good enough squad. The king went down and the rest of them are out. There's too many other yards to pick from.
Well, what if there's a power struggle now? What if there's a bunch of squirrels who now think they can be the next Squirrel King, and then like it's going to be worse than ever because they all need to show dominance over your yard?
Then the backyard is going to run red with the blood of the squirrels.
Are you sure it was Harvey? What if it was Bruce or Bella?
I know it was Harv. I've seen what he's capable of. And oh my God, bro. Like, all of the thing about bully breeds, as they're called, which is a stupid fucking term that shouldn't be used, is that their neck is stronger than my whole body. Like, this dude's neck is Mark McGuire thick. He might be on steroids.
Neck game strong.
Just mad, thick ass with 3 C's in it.
Davis Mills, like level.
Yes.
Is David Mills a bully breed? Davis Mills?
He is. Yeah. Did you see that dude on TikTok who came at me saying, you didn't even know David Mills was our quarterback and you call yourself a Texans fan? And I was like, his name is Davis. I at least knew that. But also, no.
Yeah.
Who the... Dude, if you're one of those sports fans who's like, if you don't know our 4th string quarterback, you're not a real fan.
That's John Cusack.
Hey, man, I'm 34 years old and I'm busy as fuck.
Yeah.
You want me running around? I remember the days when I was 22 and I read Clutch Fans all day and knew every player on the Rockets G League team. But I'm a grown fucking man like John Cusack. We just have a difference between us, and that's that he's amassed enough wealth that he can sit around and read all that shit all day now.
Yes.
Cusack going for that Barstool dude's neck when he was accused of being both a Sox and a Cubs fan is one of the best moments I've seen come from that company, Barstool. Because I would never in a million years expect John Cusack to be the guy who would defend himself like that. I would never in a million years expect him to be the dude who looks like he was straight up about to go pull a robbery after the game. He's like all blacked out, black bandana that he pulls down from over his face just to bitch this dude out. But also, I have 2 sides to that argument. One, you can absolutely not do what he's doing. It is insane. Any real sports fan in the world would tell you this. Cusack has no ground to stand on when it comes to the argument of being both a White Sox and a Chicago Cubs fan.
Yeah, I've said before, I switched from being a Buccaneers fan to a Packers fan, but I'm not now a fan of both. And if they play each other like they just did in the NFC Championship game, I'm not going, I win either way.
This is not how, Jared is the correct version of if you're going to sports outside of the natural version of it, you still have to you have to make a choice. You don't get 2 teams in a league. That's not how it works. Fandom.
Like being a Manchester United and Manchester City fan. Like, now, what's
what are you
sad,
doing? But at the same time, it's like, I actually don't care and live your life.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy, John Cusack. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. But don't argue with people about it because you're wrong.
Yeah. You're wrong, but you're allowed to do it, but you're wrong.
So shut the fuck up. Like, don't pretend. Own it. Just be like, yeah, go fuck yourselves. I'm a fan of the Cubs and White Sox. Blow me.
And it's also like they're not. I feel like I'm not from Chicago, but
it's a rivalry.
It's a rivalry, but they've never both been good at the same time. They both sucked for extremely.
It's
long
also
time.
kind of like a class rivalry. So it's just weird that Cusack is trying to play both sides of the ball.
My friend Randy, who's from Northwestern Indiana, is a White Sox fan.
Randy.
That's just a classic. Like Northwest Indiana, they want to be Chicagoans so damn hard. It's sad. Very sad.
Well, pick one that's not Cusack because hey, look, the bean. They're showing the bean. Speaking of Chicago, you ever gotten a picture in front of the bean?
Yeah, I did. I used it as a picture for one of the episodes once.
No shit.
I think so.
How about that, Jared? A little Jared history right there for you.
Tapera, he's pitching now. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's the guy who he accused our team of cheating again. What a fucking asshole. Anyway, squirrel time is over. Time of the squirrel is over. The time of the Birddogs has come. Birddogs, making the most comfortable shorts in the world with built-in underwear. You know and love their shorts. We've been talking about them forever. They're for living life and making love, and they have built-in underwear. Why wear shorts with underwear when you can wear even better shorts with built-in underwear, thus creating less laundry, thus saving the planet, thus making you a hero who is also better looking and more comfortable. Birddogs, baby. But did you know they make pants?
I did.
Birddogs, even their pants have underwear built in. Nobody will even know, though, because they look so nice. You're just cheating the system, winning at life. And frankly, they make pants without the underwear built in if you just want the incredibly comfortable and good-looking pants and are too afraid to go all in, you coward.
Yeah, let me paint a picture for you.
Paint
it. You wake up and your house is on fire.
Okay.
You go, oh my God, I need to get out. You grab maybe like, I don't know, your valuables, a photo album, and you go, oh my God, my dick's hanging out. I need to get outside, and I don't want all my neighbors who are surely already looking at the fire
to see my dick.
So you go and you have one pair of pants you can throw on. Well, it's Birddogs, and they have underwear built into them. You might not survive the fire if you wait inside the house to put on both underwear and pants. And if you leave the house without putting on underwear, people are just going to see your dick right through your pants. Obviously.
It's the obvious option. It's the safe choice, and it could save your life. Birddogs. Birddogs, pants, baby. It's fall, tailgating, Thanksgiving, pants. Swimming in the fall, Jared, you better have pants on. We've talked about this all summer long. Now it's transitioning into the fall. You need pants, Birddogs pants, to swim all winter and fall like Jared and I. They dry faster than a swimsuit, you coward. And they have joggers coming as well. Check out their joggers on birddogs.com. For those of you who know me, I'm wearing joggers pretty much every day. I'm wearing joggers right now, so I'm extremely excited to try out Birddogs joggers. Jared and I are in the mail on the way to Bolen Media HQ. Can't wait to try them on and tell you about them probably next week. And what's more, Jared, do you remember when you were just a boy, just a lad, and you would buy a Happy Meal or get like to the bottom of a box of cereal and there'd be a toy? When you go to birddogs.com and you use the code RBP, not only will you get whatever you pay for, the most comfortable pants with underwear built in, the most comfortable shorts with underwear built in, but also a free whistling football. Use the code RBP. It's like a Nerf football that you had when you were a kid, except it's a Birddogs orange whistling football. It's awesome. It whistles when you throw it. Birddogs.com. Place your order. Use the code RBP. Free whistling football. Birddogs.com. Jared, we received a prompt on Patreon from one of our supporters on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. Her name is Megan. She said, best and worst superpowers / abilities from Marvel or DC or whatever, superpower world. If you got to pick one of those superpowers to have, which one would you pick and why? So like, what do we think of the best? What do we think of the worst? And why? Now, this has been debated hotly by nerds since time immemorial and all over the internet. And I can say the bad ones real quick. Like, whatever Professor X is working with, the telepathy or whatever. I mean, the version of it where he has access to other people's minds. Fuck all that. You do not want that superpower. It's like Sookie in True Blood. When she would go into a room and she'd hear everybody's thoughts. That's the worst superpower ever. Don't want that. Don't get it anywhere near me. Not touching it with a 10-foot pole bone.
Yeah, I think for me the worst would be Cyclops, because he has to wear special sunglasses or else his eyes burn a hole through whatever he looks at.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of work. And like I've said before, I don't like wearing sunglasses because I feel like I'm watching a TV show of my life. So it kind of is dissociative for me. So to have to always wear them or I kill whatever I look at is not ideal. It's
not good.
It's not great.
Wolverine's is tough too.
But I like the regeneration of the wounds.
Yeah, but it's just so much pain, hurting all the time. It even hurts him when they come out, He's just so used to it. The claws.
I think a good one, when I was growing up, I really wanted to be Nightcrawler and be able to teleport wherever. Because teleportation is better than flying. Like, I want to fly from here to New York City. It's going to take me hours. I can teleport there in a freaking millisecond.
I have to agree, teleportation is the best one. I think that's my favorite one. Remember the Blob? I think his superpower is just being, like, morbidly obese. That's a bad one.
It's not great. What's up with Dr. Manhattan? His superpower is his crank's always out?
I think so. Is blue crank? Yeah.
Yeah.
He got stuck in a machine that turned his crank blue, and then it was always out. That was his superpower. Nobody got mad.
Did he use bluechew.com/RVP?
He blew himself like Tobias on Arrested Development. I'm looking at one here. Apparently, there's Squirrel Girl created by Marvel writer Will Murray.
Bill Murray.
Will Murray. Maybe Bill Murray's, what's that called when a writer has a different name they use? Pseudonym?
Yeah.
The ability to control squirrels is her superpower. And I'm not making this up. And I didn't know this before we did the show. I'm like, this is just happenstance that I've discovered Squirrel Girl.
So that would be the ultimate person to have the sit down with the Squirrel King. They wouldn't even need to sit down. You can just make them do whatever.
Control him. Turn him into an army. Weaponize the squirrels against each other.
Oh, I like that.
Much like the government has done to us as U.S. citizens. What? Anyway.
We're all squirrels.
Any other superpowers you want to give credit to or hate on? Dude, shape-shifting would be totally cool. Like, if I could shape-shift into you and then go get up to shenanigans.
Ooh, Mystique. That was Mystique from
Yeah,
X-Men.
dude. That's fun. That's good stuff.
Now, Green Lantern's weird. What, he's got to have the ring? What's up with that? It was like a fucking Texas A&M Aggie. You got to have the ring on you at all times?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Do you think we willed the Aggies to beat Alabama?
I was thinking about this.
I took full credit, like, personally.
Yeah, you could argue, made them also leak that video of the Yell Leader, which made it go even more viral. And I think that they all felt so embarrassed by their school that they were like, we need to show up for this game.
The shame drove them to the biggest victory in school history.
I would argue school history. I don't think anybody thought Alabama was going to lose this year.
Yeah, that was an incredible win. You're welcome, is what we're saying, A&M. That was all Jared and I. If we had not insulted you and shamed you and called you a cult and said all the things we said, very unlikely that you're taking down Alabama at number 1 there.
I believe that was Nick Saban was 100-0 in his Alabama career against unranked teams. He had never lost to an unranked team until then.
And he had never lost to one of his former assistant coaches, which is a crazy one.
Jimbo Fisher. He
was like 24-0 or some shit.
Yeah.
Precog, terrible superpower. Precognition, like the ability to know what's going to happen.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, no. No. Absolutely freaking not.
Would you do... Okay, Big Fish.
I got anxiety already. That person's having panic attacks all day long.
Have you seen Big Fish, the Disney movie?
Yeah, but I was real young, man. And my memory ain't so great.
The general gist of it, how it starts off, is there's this woman who lives in this like haunted house, and they go and knock on the door, and she opens the door, and there's this legend that if you look into her like eye she wears an eye patch over, you see how you're gonna die.
Dude.
Would you do it?
No.
Hell no. You don't want to see how you're gonna die?
No, because I feel like by the image, I'd be able to tell about how old I am, and then I just have to fucking wait for that. What if I look like it's like a couple weeks from now? I guess I know to ball out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, then you would know, oh, fuck work, fuck everything, I'm going to go ball out, right? And then, let's say you were old as shit. Then you know you could do whatever.
I'm about to say, because if you know how you're going to die, then you could, like, so if I'm like, oh, that sucks, I get murdered in an alley after a Broadway show, like Bruce Wayne's parents. If I know that, now I can definitely go skydiving. I can definitely learn to fly a plane or a helicopter or any of the other crazy shit. I can get a motorcycle, live totally risk-free because I know I'm going to get murdered in an alley like Bruce Wayne's parents. So yes, I look it in the eye.
Yes.
Another one of the worst superpowers, poison ivy. She could control plants and she was just itchy all the time?
I recently had very bad poison ivy.
I feel like she went through a lot of cream, you know? Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
I don't.
Bills, y'all.
You're getting into superheroes I've never even heard of. I thought you meant poison ivy, like actually the plant. I was like, okay,
dude, you've never heard of poison ivy from Batman?
I'm not a Batman guy.
I want to say Julia Roberts was poison ivy at one point.
Really?
She's hot, dude. Poison ivy's like all time smoke. She's like hippie porn with all the plants and shit.
Interesting. Never knew.
Is it? Anyway, I'm still working my way through the Marvel movies, and if you want to hear me talk about them on occasion, then we do that on our TV and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, formerly the #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the world, housed here at Bolen Media, started by me and Barrett Dudley and Veronica Ruck way back in the day, and Barrett and I have carried on the tradition of covering one of the greatest television franchises, if not the greatest in history, Game of Thrones, and they have a new show coming, House of the Dragon, 2022. Barrett and I broke down the teaser trailer in the latest episode of OCC, which you can hear wherever you hear RBP. Oysters, clams, and cockles is the name of the game, and it is now 6-1 Astros. Suck our dicks. Uncle Mike with a RBI there. Love him. Michael Brantley. Love him.
Look, wait, their pitcher's name is Bummer. That's a bummer.
I know, right, dude? Isn't that a horrid sports name to have?
Bummer. The pitcher's a real bummer.
Yeah, that guy's a bummer. Just giving up runs and shit, too. What a loser.
There have been some all-time bad sports names, but like that's up there.
Also, a lot of sports. I feel like a lot of professional athletes with all-time bad facial hair. They should use our sponsor, Harry's.
Oh yeah.
Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by Harry's. Have you looked in the mirror recently? Like really looked that beard you grew out in 2020 into 2021, that thing you carried with you? It's time to let it go. All right. It's hot. I mean, it's cooling down a little bit, but like you don't need to look like it's 2020 still.
Yeah, what's going to happen is once it cools down outside, the inside place is going to be hot. So you're going to be in a restaurant, you're going to be at home, and the heat's going to be cranking.
Blasting.
Oh, you don't want that on your face.
Next thing you know, you're sweating through your homeless-looking beard. So, a lot of you are heading back into the office. It's time to get back that fresh, clean, all-business look. Let Harry's help. Your morning routine, shower, shave, and Harry's can at least make those two better. That's 2 of 3, Jared. If you don't know Harry's, it's time you do. Harry's was created to be different from other shaving companies. They craft high-quality, long-lasting blades and durable weighted handles that make a close, comfortable shave quick and, dare we say, enjoyable. And because Harry's insists that you shouldn't have to choose between a great shave and a fair price, they just give you both. Refill blades start as low as $2. It's an easy decision. Even easier, new Harry's customers get their starter set, which includes a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover. $13 value for just $3. Plus, Harry's offers a whole range of amazing face and body care products for men, all delivered right to your door. I am a 34-year-old man, been using shaving products since I hit puberty at 24 years old. I have encountered in my decade plus of facial hair maintenance as a very hairy and manly man who has 0 patches in his facial hair, many different shaving products, and Harry's is the best. It's the best, and there's never been a better time to try Harry's. Go to harrys.com/RBP now to get their starter set for just $3. It's a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. Go to harrys.com/RBP right now to get this special offer. That's HARRYS.com/RBP. Mr. Bone, we have elected today, as a result of both my mental health state and the ongoing Astros game. The game got pushed back to this afternoon in the middle of the day at 1 o'clock. I didn't know that was going to happen. Long story short, I decided to bless you all with some hotline calls today, which are typically reserved strictly for Patreon. We play a ton of them every month.
I told Ross, hey, we shouldn't do this, but then he said, Jared... And then he didn't say anything after that. He just started smacking my tight little ass, so I couldn't. I had no recourse.
Yeah, I threw my hand over his mouth, dragged him out back, and started spanking him. But so we're gonna give you a few against Jared's better wishes, and we'll see what you people have to say on the hotline. Give some of you who have never been to Patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast a little take of what goes on there, a little taste of what goes on there, rather, and. If you enjoy what you hear here in the next several minutes and you don't go to patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast, you will hear from our lawyers. Fire off the first call, J-Bone.
Ross, J-Bone, this is Nick from Orlando. Need some advice here. Friday is the release of Many Saints of Newark, and I only have one friend who has completely watched the entirety of Sopranos, and he lives in Tampa, so unlikely that him and I'll be able to watch it together. Is it trash or is it weird to go to the movie theater by yourself? If you could help me with this one, that'd be great. Unsure if I want to go to the movie theater to watch it for the overall better viewing experience. Then I'll get at home. But would I be weird going to the movie theater by myself? Let me know your thoughts. Gang, gang, gang.
Now, this is a common, much debated question that we have, in fact, provided an answer for in the past. It was just before the pandemic. And it got me thinking, my answer has completely changed.
Really?
Yeah, going to the movies alone in 2021 is a psycho move. Or you just have a shit TV, I guess, like at home. Because like most movies are accessible through streaming or rentable on drop date. a lot of the major streaming platforms drop movies on their like HBO Max is releasing The Many Saints of Newark. He can watch that on his couch. He doesn't have to go to the theater to watch it if he doesn't want to. And it's been out for like a couple weeks now. Like the call's a little old. But dude, I've been to the like COVID age movies, and it's not worth it if you're by yourself. I don't think. It's just kind of like, why go through all the hassle and the risk and it's just weird at this point.
I disagree. I think...
You think it's still fine?
So I've never been the kind of person who is like, oh, I need to watch this movie in theaters because I'm down to save the money. Okay, well, instead of going to the movie theater, just go buy like Raising Cane's and eat that when you watch it at home, and there you go. It's the same price. But there are people I understand who have to watch a movie in theaters. Certain movies. The experience is unparalleled. The sound is better. You feel like you're like there. It's a massive screen. I'm not one of those people, but I totally think that if you are, go to the movies alone. It's dark in there.
The Dark Knight, I'm going to the theater. Dunkirk, I'm going to the theater. Any Christopher Nolan movie, I'm going to the theater. There's just any Marvel movie, I'm probably going to the theater if I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I'm not, so I'm not. But point being, yes, there are certain movies you much prefer to take in the theater. And in that case, I think it's fine. Because nobody's going to know anyway. The theater's packed.
Yeah.
But if I see you by yourself right now, 2021, not a movie that was necessary to be going to see in theaters, I'm judging you a little bit.
I wouldn't judge. I understand, you know.
I judge.
What if that person had just moved to a new city and they didn't know anybody and they're like, oh, I need to have some form of social like presence. And that's
I need to get out of the house. I need to feel the city outside of this room. Okay, fine. Go to the movies alone still.
And then if you want extra like social presence at the movies, you can probably find somebody to blow you in the bathroom.
I think Kevin Clancy has had this argument many times. He's one of these movie theater alone advocates. But I'm curious if his take has changed in 2021 as well with everything that's gone on. You know? Next call!
Hey, Ross and Jared, it's Garrett from Salina. I've got a trash or not trash for you. Arguing about whether or not games and sports on the fringe are sports. I'm a golfer. I've gotten shit my whole life about whether or not golf is a sport. I've chosen to move past it. I don't care. I love it. I hear this all the time about disc golf, and even now coming up, cornhole and bowling. People just love to argue about this, and I don't think it really matters. If you enjoy it, just keep doing your thing. But is it trash to make that argument happen? Let me know what you guys think.
Okay, I understand this question because Garrett from Salina is not wrong. It's the making this argument occur is trash. It is a trash move to make this argument occur. I also understand the argument, but so for people who come at golf, arguing that golf isn't a sport is insane to me. But if you apply that principle to bowling, then bowling is a sport if golf is a sport, right? It's just not taken as seriously.
Yeah, as a disc golfer, I've constantly had my sport being like, oh, it's not a sport, that's a game.
This sucks. We shouldn't have this argument. He's absolutely right, because disc golf also by the same standards is a sport.
Disc golf includes more exercise than golf. If you're going off of just straight cardio.
We waved bye-bye to exercise being a part of it long ago when baseball was invented. Most of these dudes spend 90% of the game just standing there. And yes, you run if you get on base. And yes, you run if you're fielding the ball. But most of the time, you're just standing there.
What about a designated hitter? That is the dumbest.
That's the laziest fucking guy.
Oh my God.
You go up, you hit, you go sit back down. You wait 2 hours, you go back up and you hit again.
I still don't understand why the American League and National League have one league have a designated hitter and one have the pitchers hit.
It is so that they can maintain some level of quirkiness to the game. That's why. I think at this point, because it's so stupid and annoying that it's just so we have something weird, some other thing to talk about baseball, you know?
Doesn't it just only benefit the National League though? Because all the pitchers get to hit during the regular season and none of the American League pitchers get to hit?
Having now been on both sides of it, it absolutely sucks ass having to have your pitchers hit.
I love watching
here's the thing,
it.
they fucking can't.
They suck.
Except for that one guy who it turns out it doesn't matter because his team can't make the postseason.
Oh, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bartolo Colon did hit a home run once.
All-time GOAT. That dude right there. Is he still playing?
I hope not.
Like 2 seasons ago, he was still out there doing it.
Didn't he do steroids in the steroid era and then just stopped and everybody's like, you're good, man. You're good.
Didn't he put on like 140 pounds and play for like 50 years?
Yeah. I think he was on the Mets, right?
He was drafted by the 1946 White Sox or something. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, cornhole is a sport too.
Yeah.
It's just obscure.
I have a question for you, though.
Huh.
When does a game turn into a sport? When I was young, cornhole was a game. There was no sport to it. But it became a sport after it got a level of competition to
Okay.
it.
2 young 8-year-olds throwing cornhole in the backyard, that's not a sport. But 2 men competing in the great sport of cornhole, that's a sport.
But how do these boys become the men?
It has to matter enough for you to want to kill the other person with your bare hands. That's how you define a sport. Would you murder the competition if you could get away with it, and then it's a sport? And I think everybody knows who's ever played cornhole. You want to kill the other person.
Yeah, I want to put that bag through their fucking skull.
Just right down their fucking throat until you can't breathe. That's cornhole. Next question.
I just have to say, Kevin James, and specifically Paul Blart Mall Cop, is a top 10 movie of all time. Thank you.
To see the legacy of outrageous top 10 movie of all time claims be carried on by my listenership is a very huge point of pride to me. I also want to note that I watched this film. Not only did I watch Kevin James's Paul Blart Mall Cop 1, I want to be clear here, not the sequel. I watched it on a bootleg DVD. And that's not a joke or like something I'm making up. Like, I knew a guy in college who for some reason had bootleg DVDs, and at one point he had one that was Paul Blart Mall Cop, and we were like, well, this has to be Funny High. So we put it on. And it's pretty damn funny high. But just if you watched it sober, you'd probably become several IQ points lower by the end of it.
Bro, this movie is so funny. Kevin James got a mustache and he's a mall cop, dude.
And he's fat.
Oh, man.
Fat mall cop loser saves day.
Rides on a Segway, too.
And has a Segway. Yeah. They got a sequel out of that.
Speaking of Segways.
What?
I just wanted to use that transition. I actually don't have a Segway to go to.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called when I'm seeing how much money Mall Cop made? Guess how much it cost to make Mall Cop, Jared?
Like $15.
$26 million. Guess how much they did in the box office, Jared?
How much?
$183 million.
That's absurd. Kevin James puts asses in seats.
Dude, people make fun of Kevin James, but he's like the John Cena of comedy. Like, he doesn't get the respect that Sandler does or any of these other guys, perhaps. But he puts asses in seats too, man. He does a pretty good job.
I've heard, so you know how Reddit, like, probably like 8 times a year, there's a thread that goes all the way to the top of Ask Reddit, and it's who is a celebrity you've met who is a complete and total asshole. And always, one of the top 3 like most liked comments is Kevin James. He's supposed
As
to be
a joke?
No, seriously.
Oh,
Kevin
he's
James
like a total cock?
is supposed to be in real life one of the rudest, like meanest celebrities that there is.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's very well documented on Reddit. As far
I don't know,
as
man.
know.
Frankly, if my career ended up where I was Paul Blart Mall Cop, I'd be pretty pissed off all the time. If with the fans at least. It's like, fuck off. I already let you make fun of me all day and night, like, for money.
Remember King of Queens?
It's a great show, dude.
That was our old coworker's like favorite show of all time.
No shit.
Trevor Hughes.
That was his fave?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Shouts to Trev.
I think, at least.
I loved King of Queens. I watched it was almost like it fell into like the same place I would say that Futurama did for me. Where I was always I don't want to insult Futurama. It's better.
Thank you.
Futurama is better.
I was about to come for your throat.
But it was an under the radar sort of like, I don't know, that probably wouldn't be good. And then I watched it and was like, oh shit, it's pretty damn enjoyable. In the case of Futurama, it was great. But
I feel like Jerry Seinfeld's dad was the only good character in that show.
he was definitely the best character. Rest in peace.
He died.
It was Ben Stiller's dad, to correct Jared. But Ben Stiller's dad played Jerry Seinfeld's dad in Seinfeld.
Are you serious?
Swear to God.
Okay,
That's why you think that. Swear to God.
Was it Arthur Stiller? Is that his name?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow, that's confusing.
Right, dude?
Was
But,
Jerry Seinfeld's dad not an actor?
You forget this, but Ben Stiller's whole family is like GOAT level funny people, bro. Like, it's fucking crazy. His mom and his dad and him have been putting out funny shit for like a combined 80 years.
Who was the mom?
I don't know, just Ben Stiller's mom. Same way I don't know his dad's name until you tell me. He was Arthur on King of Queens, though. Arthur. He was kind of annoying on that show. That show sucked.
Wait, I thought his name was Arthur.
I take back everything I said about King of Queens. But his name was Arthur on that show. It might have also been Arthur Stiller, but I don't know. Now I have to look it up because he's dead. We can't just say his name wrong.
Yeah, true.
Ben Stiller, dad. Jerry Stiller, holy shit.
But Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, see, it all ties together. Look, listen to the speech from Vince Vaughn at the beginning of Wedding Crashers. Like, we are all one. Next call.
What's up, Ross and Jared? This is Garrett from Salina again.
Again?
I just need your input on this insane bet that popped up last week in Vegas. Charlie Woods, son of Tiger Woods, golfing legend, has odds on him winning a major before he turns 25. He is 11. The odds are 825 to 1. Are you taking that bet?
Yes, and here's why. This new era of sports betting, which is very much a part of our sports betting sponsor, MyBookie.ag's offering as well, where you can bet these crazy, obscure, like, we don't even know if he's going to play golf collegiately.
Yeah, he obviously showed off some great skills in that, like, father-son thing.
But, like, we don't even know if he's going to pursue a career in golf.
Yeah.
And you can bet that he'll win a major before the age of 25. This is 825 to 1 odds.
For 14 years, you have to sweat this one out.
That's a lot of fucking sweat. I fill a pool with that. But I love the bets like this, though. I love the really weird ones and that you can, like, bet on politics and television shows now. Like, back when Game of Thrones was ending, you could bet on, like, which characters were going to die. Like, that was a thing in Vegas and at the sports books. And with our sponsor, MyBookie.ag, we use the code RBP. But it's so wild to me to watch. This is a thing that every single sports fan goes through in their life, where you grow up watching these guys that you love, and some of them are old when you're watching them when you're young. And then you get old and you end up seeing their kids play. Now my dad is the age where he's seeing, like, the grandkids of people he watched play, like, pop into the league or whatever. And that the fact that professional sports in some families is passed down like any other trade is wild.
Well, I'm the son of a doctor. It's kind of similar.
House of Learned Doctors.
Yeah,
very similar to being a pro athlete.
I used to watch Michael Pittman as the Buccaneers running back growing up, and now his son is a, like, running back / wide receiver on the Colts.
It's pretty mind-blowing, dude. Pretty mind-blowing. Also, the entire Watt family being in the NFL is ridiculous.
Saw 2 of them play in college.
What the shit? You know, they're all that good at stuff? Chill.
Well, granted, Derek is a fullback. I mean, fullbacks, here's how I feel about fullbacks.
You're about to get your ass kicked by Derek Watt.
No. Fullback.
Yeah, make this into a TikTok. I dare you.
Fullback is an incredibly hard position. It takes probably requires the most, like, brute strength of any position on the football field. But if you play for a school that uses a fullback and you're good at it, you're probably going to the NFL, because there's so few schools that you really utilize.
Yeah,
the
you
fullback.
go to Nebraska,
Wisconsin. We've had like 3 or 4 since I've been there that have gone to the league. Alec Ingold on the Raiders, fullback.
Fullbacks don't get utilized that much in the NFL. Yeah.
Brady Ewing on the Falcons.
I feel like it was more commonplace in the 90s versus God, that was so long ago.
So, like, if you want to be a fullback, just go to a school that uses it and you'll go to the NFL.
It sucks that when I say that now, like, yeah, it was commonplace in the 90s. Like, that's aging me 31 years into the past.
Yeah, how do you even remember the 90s?
I don't remember much of it, just the sports parts, just the important stuff.
Yeah, I was born in 1993. So,
87. Shouts to my 80s babies. Jared, one of the ways you and I have found to try to stay grounded in our lives, a tool that we've begun to utilize and shared and talked about on the show, is meditation. And today's sponsor, Headspace, if you have 10 minutes, can change your life and help you install a meditation practice. Really, they've already changed your life technically because they're the sponsor for today's episode. Another one of our sponsors, Headspace. It's your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. It's one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So whatever the situation, Headspace can help you feel better. If you're overwhelmed, they've got a 3-minute SOS meditation for you. If you need some help falling asleep, which so many of us do, Headspace has wind down sessions their members swear by. And if you're like, what the fuck is meditation? Here, look, I'll tell you. It's way less scary than it sounds. You put in your AirPods or whatever you got to listen. You don't even have to put on headphones if you don't want to. Play it through your phone. And there's either, some tones or some kind of like ambient music. And then a lot of them, it's like somebody speaking to you and just repeating really calming phrases.
Structured breathing.
Giving you structured breathing, and you close your eyes and you relax. And that's meditation. And the thing is, and the thing you don't realize if you've never practiced it, is that for an extended period of time can bring you great peace, great calm, and great presence, and you're centered for your day, and it makes you better at everything. It can help reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, increase your overall sense of well-being. Backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, Headspace has 600,000 5-star reviews and over 60 million downloads. They make it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. You deserve to feel happier. Headspace is meditation made simple, so go now to headspace.com/Ross. Headspace.com/Ross, and you will get a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. Best deal offered right now. You get their whole library for a free month. Try it. Headspace.com/Ross today.
Even if you are very cheap, you can get a free month of meditation and then just not renew if you don't want to, even though you will want to, I guarantee you.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we've talked about this before, but we try to bring y'all sponsors that we genuinely use ourselves and enjoy and are familiar with and that are high quality. And in the case of sponsors like Headspace, they're going to be willing to give y'all a trial period that doesn't cost you anything just to prove to you how good they are. Which is why Jared and I will sit here and ramble longer than even the ad read consists of, to tell you about our sponsors, because that's who makes this show possible. These people are paying us, which is then our salary, right? And the thing that we use to buy the cameras and the microphones and the equipment and expand and
the hookers.
We also buy hookers. And no, not hookers, but we did buy Jared something somehow as funny as hookers, which is a child's bed in the form of a race car so that he can do Formula Bone stuff with it. Mm-hmm. Not that that's what every... we buy serious things too. But that's a silly fun thing that we're going to use to make content. That's how this company is built. That's how Ross Bolen Podcast is made, through y'all's support of our sponsors and then your direct support on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, where Jared and I will be back this Friday, like we are every Friday, with an ad-free episode exclusively available right there on Patreon for people who are supporting our show. So you go to patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, you pick a tier, and in exchange for your direct support, we give you even more content, mental health minisodes, columns, a Bolen Media monthly update column to tell you what's going on with the whole company and how everything is going. If you're not on Patreon or not paying close attention, you may not be aware that there's been a third person and even a fourth person here at Bolen Media headquarters recently with Jared and I grinding. So things are moving quickly. We need y'all's support, and we need it on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast today so that we can close out 2021 strong and go into 2022 humming. Because we got, not just me, got kind of long-dicked for a year and a half straight, and I'm stoked about not getting long-dicked anymore. So help us
I guarantee you,
everyone else.
as long as I'm here, there's going to be no long dicks.
Okay, Jared. Hey, look at this guy's jacket.
Oh, it's nice.
That's how you get stabbed. This is on the road. You got to be careful with that shit, man. I'm not kidding. Baseball purists are psychos.
Are the Dodgers still in the playoffs or no? Oh, my God.
He might have just hit that 7,000 feet. Nope, it's foul. Anyway, yes, they're still in the playoffs, but they just lost their most recent game, I believe. But
can they please play you in the World Series?
Oh Jared, do you have any idea how hard? I really will not be able to go to the LA games, though. It's not safe.
No Houston fan should go to that.
And really not the one who's been yelling, suck our dicks for 4 years.
And kiss the ring.
Because that just, I feel like that's, like I have a custom Astros jersey that an RBP fan sent me year one of the show's existence that says RBP on the back. This is not it. I'm wearing an Altuve jersey today. But if I wore that into Dodger Stadium, I would be murdered. Dead ass serious. So I won't do that. Because I assume at least some of you want me to do the show. Right?
Probably.
Bruce? You're rooting for me, right, Bruce, to survive? Anyway, go to Patreon today, support the show, and get some mo. Jared and I will be back soon. We appreciate you. We missed you. Sorry for the wonky schedule. Go Astros. Check out Banging the Can if you're a Houston sports fan. Follow Formula Bone everywhere. New Formula Bone video out today. We are absolutely destroying TikTok. RBP's TikTok has over 50,000 followers now. Formula Bone is right there at 50K with it. It is Bolen Media takeover season, and we want you along for the ride. So tell your people about what we're doing here. Tell them about RBP. Tell them about Formula Bone. Tell them about oysters, clams, and cockles. Tell them about Bruce and Bella.
Soldier Boy, tell him.
And on that note, what does he say? What does Soldier Boy?
You!